I just want to say that Marina Mabre is a bum.
So Marina Mabrey has responded. The best way to respond is by just laughing about it.
I'm going to help with her skill level. It's a skill issue for her.
Sheldon and Marina Mabrey have finally spoken out following their suspensions. During the June 18, 2025 matchup, Mabrey came out swinging with a fiery Instagram post, taking direct aim at her detractors and labeling them as out of touch. Meanwhile, Sheldon's radio silence has left fans speculating wildly about what she'll do next. The entire situation has ignited a fierce storm of controversy, thrusting the WNBA into an intense media spotlight unlike anything we've seen in recent memory.
This is what players need to realize.
2025, a date that's now etched into WNBA history for all the wrong reasons. What was supposed to be a marquee showdown between the Connecticut Sun and the Indiana Fever quickly spiraled out of control. By the time the third quarter rolled around, the focus had shifted from the game itself to a whirlwind of emotion, heated exchanges, and a chain reaction of chaos that left both fans and analysts stunned.
And then in the third quarter, Sheldon poked her in the eye again. This is something we see all the time. They were on each other. They were talking. It was trashy. The superstar like MJ, unstoppable.
All kicked off with JCS Sheldon, whose aggressive defense on Caitlin Clark went too far. Both figuratively and literally, Sheldon struck Clark in the eye, and this wasn't some minor bump. It was the kind of contact that made viewers wince in real time. Clark, known for her fiery competitiveness, wasn't about to let it slide. She responded with a firm shove as if to say, "Are you serious right now?"
Fracas occurred in the fourth quarter, which was, it took, the referees like 10 minutes to decide what to do. They ended up ejecting a bunch of players.
This is the reason why we haven't seen Caitlin at 100%. We haven't seen her as quick as we saw her last season.
And just when things couldn't get any more heated, Marina Mabrey took it up a notch. During a dead ball moment, a time when tension should have been cooling, Mabrey stormed toward Clark and delivered a full-on body check. That flattened the Fever star onto the court. This wasn't a slight shove or accidental contact. It was a powerful, deliberate hit that sent shockwaves through the crowd and instantly escalated the situation.
I just want to say that Marina Mabre is a bum, and I own her. She shoved me like that was going to change the score. Next time, try guarding me instead of throwing tantrums.
The arena froze in disbelief before erupting into a storm of shock and outrage. Caitlin Clark didn't offer much afterward, just a few brief remarks. But her silence spoke volumes. Commentators were left grasping for words, while the referees tried to regain control, as technical fouls rained down like confetti. By that point, though, the tone had completely shifted. This wasn't just a basketball game anymore. It had turned into a battlefield. With Caitlin Clark caught in the eye of the storm.
This is the reason why we haven't seen Caitlin at 100%. We haven't seen her as quick as we saw her last season.
What followed was pure chaos. Technical fouls were being issued left and right. Clark got one, Mabrey got one, and even Tina Charles found herself penalized in the confusion. Sheldon was hit with a flagrant one for the eye poke, but surprisingly, Mabrey's aggressive shove was downgraded to just a technical. That call left fans and commentators alike scratching their heads, wondering if the officials had been watching the same game as everyone else.
So Marina Mabrey has responded to everything that's going on in my opinion, the best way possible.
Drama didn't fade after the final buzzer. It exploded, and at the center of the storm was Marina Mabrey, who made it clear she wasn't about to let the critics control the narrative. While most players might have chosen to stay quiet, Mabrey went live on Instagram alongside teammate Sonia Rivers, delivering a fiery rant that sent shockwaves across social media and kept the conversation going for days.
Probably the best way to respond. I mean that, the best way to respond.
If I do, damned if I don't. That's how Mabrey kicked things off. And if anyone expected her to dial it back, they were in for a surprise. Her frustration came through loud and unfiltered. She tore into her critics, labeling them as completely out of touch and even suggesting some might need serious help. Was it intense? Definitely. But Mabry wasn't there to play nice in her eyes. She was standing up for her teammate, JC Sheldon, and she made it crystal clear she wasn't about to apologize for doing so.
Mabry's frustration poured out, raw and unapologetic. She went after her critics, calling them delusional and suggesting they needed to check into a psychiatric ward.
It was a bold play that poured gasoline on an already raging fire. Reactions were split. Some applauded Mabry for speaking her mind, while others felt she'd gone too far, love it or hate it. One thing was undeniable, Mabry wasn't pulling any punches.
You're never going to survive in sport, in the world of sport.
JC Sheldon, the polar opposite of Mabry, while the internet lit up with outrage. Calling for her suspension and labeling her play as dirty, Sheldon chose to remain silent. No statements, no posts, not even a hint of response, just complete quiet in the middle of the storm.
You're never going to survive. You're never going to survive in sport, in the world of sport, especially when your sport is relevant now, in the world of sport and social media.
Her silence spoke volumes, and it left everyone guessing, was she keeping quiet because there was nothing to defend? Or was it a strategic move to wait out the chaos? Either way, the criticism came fast and furious. Accusations of unsportsmanlike conduct flooded social media, with many questioning whether she could handle the spotlight and the pressure that comes with it.
You are never going to survive if you don't have that type of an attitude.
While Mabry's fiery outburst made her the focal point of the drama, Sheldon's silent approach spoke just as loudly in its own way. Her quiet withdrawal sparked just as many questions, fueling speculation and leaving fans to wonder what was going on behind the scenes. The sharp contrast between their reactions only deepened the intrigue, adding another dimension to an already explosive storyline. One thing's clear, this story is far from over, and the WNBA is still right in the middle of it.
Really don't want this to go to that extreme level where now people are saying just crazy things, because this has been around in the WNBA for a long time. It's a really aggressive sport.
Social media quickly became a war zone of its own within hours. Hashtags like #BenMabry and #JusticeForClark were trending. Across platforms, the fan base was deeply divided. Some stood firmly with Clark, viewing her as the target of unnecessary aggression, while others backed Sheldon and Mabry, framing them as intense competitors caught in the heat of the moment. Meanwhile, the league's no space for hate initiative suddenly felt painfully ironic. As the online discourse descended into chaos,
officials give a tech to Sheldon for poking.
Amid the chaos, one question hung in the air: what would the WNBA do about it? At first, the league's response felt underwhelming. Mabry was fined for $100 after her technical foul was later upgraded to a flagrant 2, while Sheldon's flagrant 1 remained unchanged. No suspensions, no major consequences, just another day at the office, and fans were furious. Many questioned whether the league was truly standing up for player safety or simply shielding its public image, but as the backlash grew louder, the WNBA was finally pushed to respond. Reports soon confirmed that both Sheldon and Mabry would be suspended, a rare, definitive action from a league often called out for inconsistent discipline. Still, by then, much of the damage had already been done.
NBA has been physical. It's been physical since its inception. These women are ball players, and they play the game like ball players play the game. And that requires, at times, being physical. Sometimes there are moments where you feel like the physicality is unwarranted.
Caitlin Clark. This wasn't just another game. It was a harsh reminder of the physical and emotional price that comes with being the face of the league. She's the WNBA's marquee attraction, the one player who consistently draws sellout crowds and sky-high TV ratings. But this time, it came at a cost. Clark spent the next 2 weeks on the sidelines, nursing injuries while watching the league scramble to define its stance on player safety. This wasn't just about hard fouls, it was a turning point, a wake-up call, and the aftermath, far from overdone as for the WNBA's handling of the situation. Let's just say it lacked urgency. The league didn't spring into action until hashtags began trending, and public outrage reached a boiling point. Initially, Mabry received a mere $400 fine after her technical was upgraded to a flagrant 2. J.C. Sheldon's I poke, just a flagrant 1, no suspension, no major penalties. Fans were livid. Why wasn't the league doing more to protect Caitlin Clark, their star attraction? Their biggest draw? The slow response made one thing crystal clear: the WNBA wasn't ready for the level of attention and accountability that now comes with having a superstar like Clark at the center of it all.
Did Sophie Cunningham take it a little bit too far? Yeah. And
The All-Star game tonight, just from this one play, because she was standing on business. It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul, and it was meant to.
While most of the attention was locked on the key figures in the drama, Sophie Cunningham quietly made her presence known. She wasn't about to sit back and watch her teammate take hits without support. In the middle of the chaos, Cunningham stepped up, channeling her inner Draymond Green with a gritty, no-nonsense response to the mayhem. It wasn't about flash. It was about backing up her teammate when it mattered most, and she delivered.
We don't know how bad it is.
The WNBA quickly found itself in hot water. Fans who were already questioning the league's ability to manage its rising stars saw this incident as further proof of a larger problem. The punishments handed down to Mabry and Sheldon felt far too lenient given the intensity of the altercation, more like a tap on the wrist than real accountability. And the slow rollout of suspensions, that only fueled the frustration and deepened the criticism.
The WNBA proudly announced their latest initiative, No Space for Hate, No Space for Hate.
The league's No Space for Hate campaign quickly turned into a punchline. Social media erupted with fans pointing out the glaring contradiction, promoting inclusivity and respect while seemingly ignoring clear instances of unsportsmanlike conduct. The optics weren't great, and the backlash only intensified as many questioned whether the league was living up to its own message.
And the officials give a tech to Sheldon for poking Clark.
WNBA may have hoped the controversy would fade, but fans and media weren't ready to move on. The hashtags kept gaining traction and public pressure continued to mount. Eventually, reports confirmed that Sheldon and Mabry would, in fact, face suspensions. It was a rare display of accountability, but for many, it came too late. By then, the league's credibility had taken a hit. Supporters began to question whether the WNBA was truly committed to player safety or simply protecting its brand. Caitlin Clark, the face of the league and its biggest attraction, had been left exposed on the court. And if the league couldn't protect her, what did that say about the rest of its athletes? This wasn't just another flare-up, it marked a turning point, a moment of reckoning. The WNBA now faced tough questions about its identity and direction. Was it a league that prioritized integrity and player well-being, or one willing to let chaos reign for the sake of entertainment?
There are millions of people that never cared about the WNBA at all, that now care because Caitlin Clark is in the WNBA.
Right now, the league finds itself stuck in a no-win situation, trying to appease everyone, yet satisfying almost no one. The delayed suspensions, the minimal fines, the muddled public messaging. It all points to a deeper issue, a growing credibility problem. And while Caitlin Clark may be the WNBA's biggest asset, even she can't carry a league that refuses to confront its missteps. This has grown beyond basketball. It's about the WNBA's long-term survival, its integrity, and the trust it builds or fails to build with players and fans alike. One thing is clear, the league has a lot of work ahead if it wants to move forward.
This is why the WNBA is never, ever, ever going to work.
Caitlin Clark isn't just another name on the roster. She is the headline act. Her return to the WNBA after a short injury break pulled in a staggering 2.22 million viewers, the third highest in league history. That's not a coincidence. Her star power is the engine driving the league's momentum, sold-out arenas, record-breaking merchandise sales, and non-stop buzz across social media. It all leads back to Clark, but when she's sidelined, the vulnerabilities in the league become impossible to ignore if the WNBA wants long-term success. It must find a way to balance high-level competition with player safety. Because one truth stands above the rest, no league can lean on a single player forever. Not even one as extraordinary as Caitlin Clark.
It's like the WNBA is afraid to be profitable. If they start making money, maybe the NBA would force them to operate as a separate entity.
If there's one thing the WNBA can't afford right now, it's to fumble the moment, both on the court and off. The chaos of June 18th exposed some uncomfortable truths about the league's growing pains. But if there's any upside, it's that moments like this can serve as turning points. These are the situations that define an organization, for better or worse. So now, all eyes are on the WNBA with one pressing question: what comes next?
She has surpassed everybody in the amount of time that she has played in the WNBA. She fills up every arena in every town that she goes to. Teams have to go to bigger.
First things first, let's talk about officiating. The WNBA needs to tighten things up when it comes to foul calls and dealing with unsportsmanlike behavior. Incidents like J.C. Sheldon's eye poke and Marina Mabrey's body slam weren't minor slip-ups. They were clear-cut violations that demanded swift and decisive punishment, but instead, the league hesitated, and only after a wave of online outrage did suspensions finally come down. That kind of reactive approach just isn't sustainable. Stronger, more consistent officiating isn't only about fairness. It's about setting a clear standard. Players need to understand exactly where the line is, and more importantly, that crossing it carries real consequences.
Pisses off everybody whenever we say it. And then obviously it becomes a whole thing because we're a bunch of doofuses and things like that. But like, this is the golden goose. This is the one. This is the generational, multi-generational player.
Here's the reality. The WNBA can't build its entire future around Caitlin Clark alone. Yes, she's a once-in-a-generation talent who's pulling in historic viewership and packing out arenas. But no league can thrive long-term by depending on a single star. The NBA didn't stop with Michael Jordan. They cultivated a galaxy of talent that kept fans engaged for decades. The WNBA has that same opportunity. With stars like A'ja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu already in the mix. The talent pool is deep. What's needed now is investment in marketing, storytelling, and visibility to turn those names into must-watch headliners. Because if the league wants to grow sustainably, it needs more than one face of the franchise.